Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is, of course, Saturday, October 17th, 2020. This is our...
Is it?
Yeah, it's the 17th of October.
Are you sure?
No, I'm unsure. I'm sorry, that's...
Are you sure you're not a duck?
Look, we're done with the duck thing. I already insulted them in their existence. A lot of them.
More ducks.
I know you want more ducks, but too bad. This is something that people on, not on stream miss. You miss nothing. You miss nothing. I'm just letting you all now know.
You missed everything.
No. But anyway. Yeah. Welcome to the show. As I'm gonna say something clever and it broke because of ducks, but it's our 163rd show. As usual, the numbers don't technically mean anything at this point in time, but whatever. We have had a lot of shows, a lot of guests, a lot of things. It's
a lot of silliness.
Oh god, the amount of silliness that we've had on the show is insane. And I've got my new chair, which I can lean back in like this very nicely. I can technically lean back in the other chair, but it
just broke.
It broke, and I couldn't do this though. Wee.
You could. You just have to get up on one leg. And...
It would probably be incredibly dangerous because it was a folding chair.
You lean back, get it up on like the back left leg, and go wee, and then fall over.
Because it's got the headrest and the lumbar support, and it's nice and mesh. So it's like.
Oh, you need a lumbar support, old man.
I totally need a lumbar support. So if you had to miss, I have a new chair. I mean, I haven't done a lot this week. It's been another new chair hype. New chair hype is best hype on Funny One. New chair hype is best hype. So yeah, interesting docket today. It's a lot of board games and card games. I think there's one kind of, I would say, role-playing thing in the entire list. And that's the Penny Dreadful stuff. But we got two Munchkins, one directly by Steve Jackson Games, Munchkin Fishy.
Something fishy. Yes.
Something fishy. Because something fishy, it's an actual core Munchkin expansion. Cool. I like those. Then there's a Munchkin Critical Role because, there's a Munchkin everything under the sun that Steve Jackson Games whores out to him. Then we got Cat Tower.
And it's also with USAopoly, which whores out with everything. So.
They are the masters of branding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There's Cat Tower, a Cat Tower game. Penny Dreadful.
How dreadful.
I know. Devil's Run, the board game. There's more to it than that, but we talked about Devil's Run, the RPG. This is the board game. Then there's Carcassonne, Hunters and Gatherers, which is a new version of Carcassonne. And finally, Atheneum Magic Library, which really the only reason I put it on this list is I really kind of like the art style to it. I'm not going to lie.
It does look cool.
Yeah, sorry, that's the sometimes when I see a board game, I'm like, oh, that art style looks really cool. I'm like, that attracts me to talk about it on the show. Yeah, I'm easily swayed by shinies, so that's something. I guess we should start. Yeah, I guess we should start with the top of the list here, though, of things to talk about.
Smell something fishy.
Yeah, sorry about the timing on Funny One. We could have done it. A raid would have been nice. It would have been nice. But yeah. Oh god, I'm trying to get the image here, and it's fighting me. Sometimes getting these images up on screen quickly and rapidly, they fight me. But yeah, so it's another core Munchkin product. So, I don't know which of the core, how many core Munchkin products there have been so far.
Crap ton.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind when more core ones come out, just because they're the easy play, but the pile of your core Munchkin ones with the standard Munchkin backs has got to be insane by now. Just quite literally insane, because there's been a lot of weird side ones, which are they have the core backs, so you can play them with core too. So the entire idea is like the dungeon's flooded, or you're like in a flooded dungeon or something, because the joke that you were in like a flaming hellscape and they don't remember being this damp. So it's Munchkin something fishy. 56 cards, so it's a standard one. Hi, Rachel.
$12.
$12. It's a standard for a Munchkin expansion. I don't know if they tell you much about it after that. You know. I don't think they do.
No, it just says odd new weapons to do with.
I think I would have to like look up and see if somewhere someone has had some of the cards. Munchkin something fishy. Can you give me any of the cards or anything else that's like in this game? That's my question.
There's a bull shark on the front of the pack.
I can see I found a picture of the back of the box where all it is weapons. There's baby. Oh my god.
Baby shark.
Baby shark. Shark Cthulhu, of course. Shark Cthulhu. They always do a Cthulhu. An orca, which is like it's part orc.
And on the front of the pack, you have a bull shark.
Yeah, fish stick and fish bowl are apparently like two of the weapons you get, which is like
fish bowl should be a helmet.
It is. It's a fish bowl's a helmet.
Nice.
And the thing is, they have it. That's not like you're wearing it over your head. You're wearing it on top of your head. And a fish stick is just like it's an actual stick that a fish would just be holding. God.
Fish could hold a stick.
I know. They can't. Fish from any animated movie that has like semi-articulation can.
Or in their mouth.
That's true. I mean, like, this is classic Munchkin. This is the Munchkin I like. I'm happy for this. This is definitely like what you want when it comes to a Munchkin expansion. Definitely.
Yeah. And at least it's not overpriced or anything.
That might be a curse. Just keep swimming. Again, 56 cards, so we don't know what's in it.
Just keep swimming.
Again, it's like one of those things that, like, when we had our complaints about Steve Jackson Games, which they haven't done a lot of, like, crazy shit lately, but, like, when they do things that are just like this, which are just standard expansions for Munchkin, I'm 100% for it. I like their products most of the time. They just do weird choices.
Just keep swimming could be an escape auto escape out of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could get rid of a monster. The monster keeps swimming.
I found some more cards. There's Bluetooth enabled, and it's a monster buff, and it gives like a fish blue teeth.
God.
Oh my god. I like it so much, and it's so bad.
Munchkin always has good puns.
They've really good puns. I mean, like, that's one of those things, is they're very good at coming up with really silly puns that fit very well. And, you know, it's another one that, like, this is one of those ones that I'm like, I haven't bought a lot of Munchkin stuff in forever. And it makes me want to, this is the kind of thing that's like, I kind of want to buy this one. You know? It's the thing that makes me happy for Munchkin stuff. Yeah. I definitely like
Ooh, Go Fish.
Yeah, Go Fish. Again, like
leopard shark,
throwing starfish and scale armor. I mean, like the puns are always good. And a lot of fish-based medieval fish-based puns are good. Thank you, Steve Jackson Games, for coming out with a good product in your line of products. Not that you don't put out other good things, but sometimes your stuff is a little questionable. But I guess since we are talking Munchkin now, and we do have another Munchkin topic, we should talk about less of something that's decent and more something that's a sellout.
Well,
sellout, yes, no. It's
when you match up with USAopoly, you're going to get some branding there.
USAopoly is the king of branding, I have to say, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like for all the stuff we've reviewed from USAopoly, it's a mixed bag of like what's good and bad for branding. And to describe it for those of you there, USAopoly is the company that makes a lot of like branded products. So we've talked about like some of their stuff, like they did the good old the Clue version that was branded by It.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants Clue It. They're also the people that actually, because they do monopolies. So like if you want a weird monopoly, or like they did like Trivia Pursuits that were very weird. They've also done like actual board games that are unique ones based on some branding.
Yeah.
And those some of them have been pretty good. Like I think they did the like one Die Hard game where we looked at it and we're like, yeah, this is actually very interesting, based on the original Die Hard. I think it was like Nakatomi Plaza. You know, so it's like they're a mixed bag of stuff.
Okay, they have 3 branded operations.
Look, I'm not saying that they don't do some...
Nightmare Before Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and Rick and Morty Anatomy Park Edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying much more about that one there. But so that's USAopoly meeting Steve Jackson Games and working together to create Munchkin Critical Role. It's technically standalone, as most Munchkins can be standalone. Like the word standalone for a Munchkin basically means you can play it on its own.
It's a core.
It's a core set. 172 cards, so it's standard size. I think it's standard price around 25. I called it. I know. I can remember the price for a core Munchkin set like no tomorrow. I'd be surprised how well it will not play with other Munchkins, though, because there are some other ones like Munchkin Marvel. I remember when we tried it out, it doesn't play as well with other Munchkins. It can, but some of the things that are in it make it more difficult.
Are very specific to that.
Yes. It makes it that it's harder to play, especially if you want to do like, which we've done in person and we've done on Tabletop Sim, playing with all of them. When you have like everything out, it creates a lot of big issues. But playing with them and the way you can set them up, like you could technically put them all into one pile. I always liked the idea of like, which was introduced to me at a friend of ours' college, Cindy's college, Brockport, playing with all the separate Munchkin piles, and then you can just take from what you want. Granted, there are some people that like certain piles, and you know, then you can kind of just get that. But it means that if you focus, you focus.
Yeah.
In this case,
some of the other stuff they've done hasn't been bad, like Marvel, of course, and X-Men. I think I've dabbled with both of those. I've never done Disney, Harry Potter, Nightmare Before Christmas.
I think we tried some of these. There's been a lot more that have come out, though, is the thing, since the last time we tried a lot of these things. So they got a whole bunch of art. They created 160 pieces of original art. They're bringing Wildmount, Wildermount, or whatever it's called. They had the book in D&D come out lately too. So I think like it's like Critical Role is one of those things that, again, like they've done really great for the role-playing community online, and like they are the old man of the group, kind of.
Back in our day.
It's been impossible to jump in like from episode 1 at this point in time because I've had so many. I mean, you could, but you like, what are you gonna do with the fuck? Well, you're gonna take up like your life for like months at an end to get through it. It would be insane. You know, it's like people that want to get into certain animes that are long-winded. I would suggest that over this because again, it's like those might have like 1,000 episodes, but they're like 20 minutes. Instead of like 3 hours or 4 hours. It's a big difference. But anyway, so yeah. They'll be it's the kind of Munchkin like they did in the Marvel one where you kind of take on more of a character.
Right.
Some animes don't. I will give 2 that I really do like the series, but I have never watched all of them. One, I've watched almost all of it, but I'm not up to date with it, and that's One Piece. I watched a lot of it. I'm not so far behind I couldn't catch up. and the other one is Detective Conan, which is actually I like parts of the series a lot, but that one has both of them may never end. And I think there's a few that are like even ones from the 60s that have gone on and may never end, and I don't remember their names, but there are a couple like that are like 3,000 episodes technically, but they're a lot more like kid-friendly shows. So there you go. Anime, technically, some of them don't have endings, but then there are those that do. Anyway, so it's a lot of cards and stuff that are based upon, you know, the ruler of it, the Critical Role world. It's made for 3 to 6 players, as most Munchkins based on their own are. I mean, it's kind of just the basics of a Munchkin game, except it's put towards Critical Role. And again, like, I don't think I necessarily have a problem with this kind of thing. You know, I think I've talked about this before, that Munchkin does too much. And that's my problem with it, is they have too many of these, like, weird expansions that are one-off expansions, and, like, they do branding then, too. Because they ran out of ideas for their original stuff. I always feel like their original stuff is still better. But these brand deals aren't bad. I never thought they were bad. It's just that, like, a lot of in-jokes and stuff, and the humor of Munchkin is lost because, like, if we take advantage of the, you know, the one we just talked about, you know, the fish one, the humor there is gonna last. You know, like, an orca being, like, showing it as a picture of, like, a whale that's also half orc is silly if you know any fantasy. You don't have to be a fan of Critical Role or Lord of the Rings or D&D to get that joke. You just have to be a fan of, like, fantasy in general, because orcs show up in a lot of fantasy places. Not all of them. Not all of them, I will admit that. But enough that, like, you know, having some generic fantasy knowledge will get you that joke. And that's the problem that I think with a lot of these, like, specifically branded, more, like, focused ones have. You gotta know more about it to get a lot of the jokes and get the humor and get the best out of it. So, again, I have no problem with Critical Role Munchkin. I just think it's gonna be a lot more for the fans. And that's, you know, is that bad or good for a product? I don't know. But I guess USAopoly's taking part of the load here, so to say, for creating this product. So definitely, I can see that's maybe why Steve Jackson Games is willing for something like this. Because a lot of times, I've seen, like, they've been doing a lot of Kickstarters for things like this. And they might have done a Kickstarter for this that we just missed. Who knows?
Possible, but because it's also a dual thing, they might have just... USAopoly might have had the license, and...
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, you want to do something with this?
Yeah. It could have been as simple as that. And there you go. Bing, bang, boom. They got it here. Showing it off to people. I mean, that sounds logically like what very easily could have been done. They could have just come up with, like, yeah, we can do Critical Role with you. Because I think this is not the first Munchkin that they've had either. They did.
No, it's not. I mentioned Harry Potter. Marvel was with USAopoly.
Yeah, and Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty.
And DuckTales, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they've done other licenses deals with USAopoly. Yeah.
And I think it's for their... Because USAopoly is the king of, like, brand deals. And I think that's where it comes from, is that they can get to some of these more specific brands, which may or may not have as big a following, with USAopoly. So they can still put out Munchkin products, still get a profit, but then they don't also have to worry about a lot of the risk of it. And you know what? Partnering with USAopoly in this case, I think, is probably a savvy business move. Because again, like, I guess I also support those weird ones to Kickstarters. I think that's when I argued, you know, like, because Steve Jackson Games also uses Kickstarter as a crutch too. Again, we're breaking down Steve Jackson Games again, and I don't want to, but we've talked about it before. That they kind of have used Kickstarter as a crutch for products that I'm like, these will sell. Why are you putting it on Kickstarter?
Yeah, when it's something that's like, well, we're not sure if there's an interest for it, that makes more sense. When there's something that's like, okay, yeah, that's obviously, you know, right up the their genre's alley. Why do we need to do that?
Yeah, like Munchkin Shakespeare, I will give you that as a good one for Kickstarter because again, like people love a Munchkin product, but like it's still like it's Shakespeare.
Yeah,
that was an interesting one to throw there. But anyway, I think it's a perfectly fine product. I think I support our good old Munchkin Something Fishy a lot more than this one, but. If you are a huge Critical Role fan, I think this is like right up your alley. Or even if you're like a light fan, maybe if you're a fan of Munchkin and Critical Role together, you don't even like. For me, I tried getting into it, but there was too many episodes, so I didn't think it was ever bad. It was just that like when I tried to get into it, it was like a little bit. It was like a couple years after they'd begun their big surge, and when you try to do that and you try to catch up, I'm like, I don't have the soul or time to do that. I didn't. So.
You don't have a soul anyway.
I mean, I wasn't going to argue against that one. But, I mean, like, I could go out and buy some.
I'm not selling you my soul, sorry.
I did a fish joke to go along with Fish Munchkin. Come on, man. Come on. I set it up for you. It was perfect. Fish joke. Fish Munchkin. Look,
I thought I was king of the corny jokes.
You can give really corny jokes, you can, but like give me an opportunity and I will give you the worst corny jokes. Just give me the opportunity. Yeah. So, shall we move on, because we have a bunch of board game topics to hit up today, and one role-playing topic, technically.
I guess you're just cat's got your tongue on the next one?
Sure.
Damien, get his tongue!
She's lying down, and I think that means no. Let's see if we can get her briefly on the angle here. Yeah, she's lying there. She's enjoying the bed.
So now we just need to find other cats and stack them on top of Damien?
Sure. I think Damien would just, like, eat them? I don't know. Who knows? Damien's a weird kitty. So.
Damien's a devil kitty.
She is a devil kitty. Cat Tower. This is Renegade Game Studios. So, it's $20. I mean, like, that's probably not the bit of information I needed to start with, but,
It's ages 6+, 2 to 6 players, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, family friendly. It's a stacking game featuring papercraft cats. And if I can get this image up here, because it's fighting with me. Don't fight me, Cat Tower image. Don't fight me. Everybody wants to see this. That's only if it's Mortal Kombat. Or Chortle Combat. Oh, I can't make a chortling noise. My throat's not good enough for that right now. I was gonna chortle, but it would have failed horribly.
You're a chortle.
So it's only 15 to 20 minutes gameplay. It's a dexterity game. Thank you, Lightning, for the one. It's accurate. Each turn, you roll a die, stack cats from your hand based on the results. Be careful, if any cats fall, you take them back. First player to stack all their cats wins. Yeah, so that's about it. Pretty simple. A fun little game, definitely, and that's the entire point of it. And I like talking about some fun little games like this one, and cats are a big thing for me. Like, right, Damien? You noticed I was going to go pet you. You're like, I'll wake up to get pets. Meow, meow, meow. She waked up to get pets. So yeah, everybody gets a die. There are the 15 cat tokens, 42 cat cards, 6 of each type, so each of the cat cards looks different. And apparently 12 fatty catty cards, 6 of each type, in the rule sheet. I'm guessing there's a little bit more to the basic rules of stacking for and it's like Jenga-y? Jenga-y, would that be the word I would use?
Yeah, yes.
Your face doesn't say much about Jenga cat tower.
Jenga cats.
Jenga cats. Well, you're building a tower of cats. That's kind of Jenga-y. It's meant to be like an adorable little game. It's not meant to be anything special or crazy. You know, that's about it. I think, you know, seeing it in the little cat box that I'm showing here on the screen, it looks kind of like, it's a little adorable kind of thing.
It's
and I'm like,
cute.
you know, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's talk about Cat Tower. It's something interesting, just to like be like, it's adorable. It's a little bit more family friendly. Definitely, there's a lot of people that have younger kids out there that like would like to get them into some kind of game. And like, I have to say, like, though I don't play it a lot, Jenga is the style of dexterity game I'm a lot more of a fan of, where it's kind of like stacking and you're trying for that stuff. I'm a less fan of things like flicking and, you know, like launching stuff and stuff like that. That's for sure.
There's different ways you can stack them. And I think it matters with the die you roll and cards you get. Because you can stack them upside down, you can stack them flat, you can stack them on their side.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I was watching some of the video of how to play Cat Tower.
Neat.
So there you go.
Cool. No, that's kind of neat. So yeah. Yeah, no. Cat Tower, I think it's one that I pretty much just wanted to bring up a little bit and throw out here as a little, like, family-friendly thing. Because, again, like, we don't always tend to get the most family-friendly games on we talk about. Just saying. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Lurk, 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 lurk. Lurking lightning. I did that little song there for lightning.
Oh, God. You make my brain hurt some days.
Hey, we got a bunch of topics, so let's move on to the next exciting topic.
That's so dreadful.
It is a Penny Dreadful one-shot. We've talked a little bit about the Penny Dreadful one-shots that Weird Games have come out with before. Just briefly, I think we've talked about them at least one other segment previously. And it's nice to see that they're continuing to put these out. They're like one-shot RPG kind of things. So this one is A Night in Hollow, which is, it's a Halloween story. So, I mean, like, it's the season. We should at least talk about one Halloween product coming out as I lean back and enjoy my chair some more.
I'm going to steal your chair.
Uh-huh. There's people that love candy, others that prefer zombies and bad horror flicks, and, so, yeah. That's what's kind of, like, trying to capture a little bit of, like, you know, Halloween spirit in A Night in Hallows Eve. It's for the Through the Breach game, and sees the fated come in contact with the town of Hollow, where it's Carving Day Festival. So it's basically Halloween. And guess what? Everything is not fine as usual. It's, you know, horrible things happen. And it's a fight for survival. Yes. It's on Drive RPG for $5, this adventure. Yep.
Cool.
So, fairly simple thing. A Halloween adventure, a little bit of role-playing, using their system. And the thing is, you can, apparently, like, if you leave a review on the game up until November 2nd, they actually have a drawing to win alternate promotional Candy and Cade. Which I'm not sure which much that is. I'm trying to, like, look into their promotions. It's something. It's a promotion. I think Candy appears maybe in Baby Cade. Candy is maybe a horrible murder bear, and Baby Cade is maybe like the doll with the bloody head.
Yeah, its head's been chopped off. The murder bear seems to have someone's face stitched on it.
Yes. Yes, it does. For pleasantness.
Or, oh wait, maybe that's the bear's mouth and the guy's in a bear costume.
And it's just been stitched onto him?
Well, no. They would be the teeth sticking out around the face of the bear's mouth. I think that's what it is.
Rotten Harvest Candy or Baby Cade. It's promotional stuff. Because normally it's like, get a free... Oh, they're little models. Oh my god, I'm trying to figure it out. Because it's weird games, and I forget they do a lot of, like... Their other thing is, like,
Miniatures.
My god. Oh. I knew earlier my brain was a little fried, but like I'm like, oh, what's going on with these? Okay, so yeah, they have something where you can get these models of both the creepy bear and the doll with the bloody head coming off, you know. But if you review the product that you bought, you can possibly get alternate promotional versions of them for the little models. And the normal ones you would get is, I guess, if you're buying a bunch of stuff from them, you could possibly get it. If you keep your receipt when you spend $75 or more, a products at your local game store, you get a choice of one of those too. And if you spend $150, you get both of them. So basically, you go to a local game store, buy a bunch of their miniatures / game stuff, and you can like present your receipt to them in some way. I guess, I don't know.
What's a brain store?
What?
You said brain store instead of game store.
Whatever. English bad.
I have to pick on you.
So yeah. Okay. I figured it out. All of this. And my brain worked more. It was like, I saw the promotion here, which I had missed before, and I'm like, what is this weird promotion thing? What the hell does this mean? And then it's like the click of like, oh wait, there are miniatures people too. I forgot. So yeah. It's another way that if you want to do this adventure, or get this adventure, you can do thing.
Yes. You can get promotional stuff.
Oh my god. Wow. You look at me and you could just tell like my brain just is so broken right now.
When isn't it?
I don't know. But yeah, but like the weird game, wired or weird games, they're little penny dreadful things, which are they're very interesting because they're kind of like, I recall it being their like miniatures RPG kind of thing that they're doing, where I think you can do it without their miniatures, but it's kind of better. So I think the Through the Breach is a little bit more closer to 4th edition, I think, from our previous reviews. So if you have any idea about 4th edition, which is an RPG system, which you need a board in front of you almost, this kind of harkens to that. So, which makes me like think of something I might want to do on stream at some point in time. Maybe at least do one of the 4th edition adventures, just so people have an experience with it. Because again, like, it's a role playing game that like I've given reviews of that, like, it's not D&D the way you'd ever think about it, but it's interesting and fun as a kind of more of a board game kind of thing, or like capturing what it does well. I've never argued against that. It's just a really different thing, and Roll20 might not be a bad place for it with boards and stuff. But that's a different thing entirely to think about. I should consider that, testing out older editions of stuff. So yeah. But speaking of RPGs, let's talk about an RPG that's technically it's a board game based on an RPG that Modifius came out with, maybe not recently, but last couple of years. Now they're doing a board game based on it. So they're doing Miles Massacre, a board game based on their Devil's Run, which I believe was a successful Kickstarter they did for basically Mad Max, the RPG. That's kind of what Devil's Run always feels to me. It's like a little bit of Fallout. Mostly it's Mad Max. It's a post-apocalyptic car-based one, but except rather than being in Australia, it was in, I think, California, I believe, if I recall correctly, for his Devil Run. Yeah.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah. So the Miles Massacre, it's a vehicular combat board game. It's set after World War III, where it's 19 years afterwards, and everybody's fighting for survival. Each player controls a gang of ramshackled vehicles and their character drivers as they race across the remains of America and lay claim to aid drops, fuel, and food. And you smash, bash, crash, more smashing, and racing to win. Apparently, it's like the 5Ds of dodgeball.
Oh my God.
Except it's the what you do as a gang. Smash a lot. They've got miniatures, so it's a miniatures-based board game. Apparently, it is a standalone experience, but you can also have some of the missions in the game tie into the quick start rules in the Devil's Run RPG. And some of the stuff they provide here follow up to the Adventures of Life and Death Echoes, which is another one of the adventures. So that's actually the really interesting thing, is that you can kind of follow it and tie in the board game to your RPG to a degree, too. That's cool. I'm giving them that kind of props for kind of doing that. And I think that's something that, like, Modiphius does a good job of, the, like, cross-play of their products. It's sort of like the Fallout miniatures game can be used with the Fallout RPG, or it can be used separately. The Fallout RPG, they're finally kind of putting out there. They have a kind of a light RPG that can be used with their miniatures game, but they also have an in-depth one, and both of them can be used with it. So this is like another example that they're very good at, like, kind of coming up with different ways to play their RPG games occasionally, and I like it. You know, Modiphius does a good job at coming up with kind of interesting ways to combine different mediums, almost, you could say. And since this is a more, like, the miniatures look really cool, I'm going to say, like, because they're, like, apocalyptic car miniatures and, like, little figures, too. I don't know if they are actually fully colored, like they're showing off in the pictures for the product. That's a question that I have about it. If it's yes or no. If it's fully colored, much more awesome, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't know. And it seems to be definitely more of a tile laying game where you're laying out, like, roadway for your. For it.
I would assume they're fully colored because they're not showing any non-painted.
Yeah. That kind
like normally they'll show if they're come non-painted, they normally would show like a painted and non-painted version.
Yeah. And these all look, you know, they look fully painted and stuff, and yeah. You know, again, like, depending on, like, Modiphius, one of their things is miniatures too, and so they have a pretty good miniatures set. So if they would have ways of, like, you know, a system for automatically painting these things, or maybe even, like, making
Pencils
them
kind of thing, or
yeah,
something,
or maybe making them as, you know, what it is. More power to them. It's hard to say. Like Dungeons & Dragons, the miniatures game, they came fully painted, and those were pretty decent miniatures. And miniatures technology has definitely gotten a lot better over the last, I don't know, decade and a half since D&D miniatures came out, and those were pretty damn good miniatures.
I mean, you also have 3D printers now. Yeah,
it's a lot easier to come up with miniatures and miniature-based technology. Things have definitely advanced. It's like, you don't want to say it, but, like, technically dice technology has, you know, like, creation technology has come out better because there are much more fancier dice sets than there used to be, you know? Like, the big thing used to be, like, mixtures of colors and moldings, but those were, like, or, like, sparkles in the molding stuff, you know? That was the big things. You come out with a lot crazier shit nowadays when it comes to it. But it's a thing that you kind of reflect upon, that, like, there's been an advancement in a lot of this technology. And 3D printers, they can be at the home now. They have home versions of them. And they're pretty awesome that you can come up with some pretty cool stuff with them. So, 3. I thought you had 1. I didn't know you had 3. Jesus.
She prints more.
I mean, if you've been printing a lot of stuff, I forgot to bring up something.
Just 3D print a 3D printer.
I'm just gonna put. printerception, unfortunately, could halfway be a thing. You know, it's sort of like you can 3D print complex things, and it'd be more like there's certain parts that you need, but after that, you could 3D print the rest of it. You know. Yeah, you can get spare printer parts from one to the other. There are certain things that probably can't be done, like some of the electronics components, which can't be plastics. Though there are metal-based 3D printers, so maybe you eventually could, depending on if you have enough 3D printers, you could 3D print a 3D printer. It would be complex, but you could probably do it, and it'd be weird.
What about a 4D printer?
That would involve time travel, and fuck that, I'm not worried about that right now. I've been having trouble with the temporal teleporter. Good enough, like, trying to get, like, also, like, you know, 3D time printing. It's like you just sit there and all of a sudden you have a model next to you. It's like, where the fuck did this come from? Time travel, bitches?
Look, like, I have a 3D printed version of, the pyramid.
Time travel, bitches!
No, you 3D printed wormhole.
That doesn't... I'm just going to leave that one alone. Let's move on. We have a couple more topics. Because 3D printed wormhole happened. Uh-huh.
Then you can time travel to it.
I'm just going to ignore all of that right now. And we're going to talk about Carcassonne. Because I like Carcassonne.
And hey, talk about time travel. We're in the Stone Age.
Yes. I mean, if you want to pretend we're time traveling here to get there, then sure. But I think it's more that it's just, you know, old-timey Carcassonne. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot on Carcassonne lately. Like, it was for a while there. It was a product that had like 1 billion different expansions and stuff, and I think we've seen some like a few products from it that are more like they occasionally still come out with compilations of a lot of their expansions and stuff, but like the core game we haven't seen a lot. So this is a standalone prehistoric game in the Carcassonne series. So it's all about fishing, hunting, and gathering in a prehistoric landscape to expand your tabletop. It's tile laying. It's tile laying, and instead of building cities and like putting down churches and roads, you're doing prehistoric crap. I mean, again, it's a face paint, but I'm not necessarily against a face paint if it comes into some interesting separate rules. And I'm just curious as to, like, you know, if we could see the rules for it, if they do have a couple of extra separate rules that make it more unique on its own. I don't...
You can claim grasslands just as they might claim a field, but grasslands vary in points. Value depending on types of number of animals present. Likewise, rivers will score similarly to roads.
There are things like saber-toothed tigers and mammoths and stuff, and depending on the animals that you have in an area affects how it scores and stuff like that. That if you have danger scoring in it. So that's like interesting that they have a little bit of extra stuff to it. Is it enough to make it its own unique thing is the question that you really want to ask, and its own unique time. And I don't know. I'm kind of take a quick look here at the rules. I mean, you know, Carcassonne was always interesting for its own reasons and stuff too. Tiles with forest, tiles with forests and menhir, tiles with river, tiles with lake and fish and river. There's deer, uroks, mammoths, saber-toothed tigers. You got your tribe members. You've got little like huts that you can place down and stuff like that. So I think like it feels like it's just enough to be unique on its own, you know. And I think that's what I'm going to say about it.
Yeah.
If you like Carcassonne a lot, it's sort of like I'm going to compare it to maybe playing like the different Tickets to Ride. They're pretty much the same game, but with like, yes, you have a little bit of a different like veneer over it, but when each of them adds a little bit slightly different way to play. Like Ticket to Ride America is very simple. Ticket to Ride Europe adds a little bit of different things with the ferries and the caves, or the tunnels, you know. And that adds a little difference, so that, like, sometimes you just want the basics of Ticket to Ride America. Sometimes you want the a little bit more advance of Europe. Both are fun to play on their own and have different ways of playing them. And I think that's what this may hopefully add to it. Now, granted, the veneer of, like, Stone Age is probably not needed. But it's interesting. It's different. Yeah. I don't think any... Other than, like, the actual game Stone Age, I don't think we've had a lot of it.
It's $40.
Kind of around where I think Carcassonne itself was at. Tile games tend to be a little bit more expensive anyway. And it comes with 95 tiles. You got your 30 little, like, Stone Age meeples, the 15 huts, 24 covering markers, 5 scoring markers. It's for 2 to 5 players, like a standard Carcassonne game. And they say 31 minutes. Yeah, I can see you getting done a Carcassonne game in 31 minutes, because you play until you run out of tiles.
That seems so specific. You know...
Actually, you know what? I didn't realize it until after I said it, and then you're like, that seems so like, wait a second, yeah, you're right. 31 minutes?
Like, I've seen 30 to 35, you know, something like that, but 31. It'll be exactly 31 minutes. Don't go a second over.
Well, given that they said, like, you know, sometimes they say, like, 30 minutes or an hour or 45 minutes, you know, that you're assuming it's generally around that area. Yeah,
but I've also seen, like, 30 to 35 listed on some games. Like, that would make more sense, but 31.
Maybe it's 1 minute for setup and 30 minutes to play.
It's still weird.
I will really agree on that one, 31 minutes.
We're timing you.
It's like,
don't you dare make it more or less.
Oh man, I'm so stressed out. Yeah, I mean, like, if
that's a new part of the game, you have to make sure to play it within the time frame.
Freaking. But apparently, if you find them menhirs, the tall Stonehenge-like bonuses you can get, awesome. You can have your own Stonehenge.
You're a menhir.
Okay, so one of the things is, like, that I didn't realize, which now, like, I'm going over all this information, is this is technically, like, they've had a Stone Age before. This is an update on it. So it's like, 2nd edition, maybe? The original one apparently came out in 2002.
Oh, yeah, so I see that, yeah.
That is a long time ago, and if they're coming out with a new version of it, a new edition of it, I'm fine with that. Like, this is one that definitely I didn't even know about. You know, I knew about base Carcassonne and a couple of the weird expansion things, but base Carcassonne's been out for quite a long time, too. I mean, that's an old game. So, maybe that's why they can get down to that.
Hell, this one's 18 years old to itself.
Yeah,
this one's old enough to start college.
Think about Settlers, how old Settlers is now. That's probably older than this, too. I try to think about that, and I'm like, oh, Settlers, yeah, that's a really, it's a fun board game. I always like playing it. Settlers of Catan. Let's see how old it actually is. 95 was the first edition of it.
So it is 25 years old. It can rent cars.
Yeah. God. Makes you feel old to think about that. Now, granted, like, it was, like, early 2000s when I finally got into either of these games, but still, it's not an excuse for ancientness.
Fucking hard.
So again, like, it's like updated art, additional menhir titles with unique effects. So they added a couple of extra effects. So it's pretty much the original Hunters and Gatherers version with a few updates. It's sort of like when they updated Arkham Horror. When I was looking at it, I'm like, as much as I was not going to buy it because I don't have the money, I didn't have the money to buy it. I liked the updates they did from the edition of Arkham Horror I had to the new one. So again, like, this is the same kind of thing. Is like, I think, like, updates, we're adding a little bit more and fixing up the game. It means that, like, if someone didn't get it, great for them. If they had the old edition of gameplay, you know, you could still stick with that. You know,
right.
It's not, updating it and making it unique is not necessarily insulting the people that originally got it. And I mean, like, 18 years ago is quite a long play. If you've been playing it for 18 years, it's going to be pretty damn worn out. Anyway. But no, Carcassonne Hunters Gatherers. The new edition is out. And it's a new expansion to Carcassonne stuff. If you like Carcassonne. It's certainly been Z-Man Games, one of their big lines. Because they've got 1 billion of them.
Now, the thing is, with it being 95 for the other one, isn't it more a European-style game? So it might have been in Europe before it hit the U.S.
That's true. And Carcassonne, the board game.
I think it was originally in Europe as well.
Yeah, it was originally published in 2000. So the alternate version that we're talking about, the Hunters Gatherers, was
2 years after.
Was 2 years after. So it was like right around the same time. But yeah. I think like Catan coming to America was the big surgence of European style games, and so like it had 5 years before there. I'm thinking it was probably around 97, 98 when it first started coming in. Because, like...
Right. But that's why I was thinking, I'm like, 95, it might have existed in Europe in 95. But maybe not the U.S. yet.
That's a question of how many years it took to get into U.S. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, anyway. Interesting looking back at the history of board games sometimes, too. One more main topic that we have to handle today, and that is... Atheneum, the Mystic Library, which has this cool, like, elf chick doing library stuff. And I'm like, I kind of like that picture. Atheneum. So, Atheneum is technically not out, but it's coming out this month. So, I'm not exactly... They don't tell me the exact release date here on Renegade Studios.
November... Oh, no, that's number of players. I thought I saw something, but no. That's number of players. Never mind.
It says releasing...
Releasing October 2020, so sometime this month.
Yeah, so it's not... It's going to be out soon. That's the best way I can say it. It's going to be out soon. It's Renegade Game Studios. They put out a lot of interesting and good board games, so I'm not going to complain about them as a studio. They're a good studio for this kind of thing. So study for your exam with magical books from the library. Organize shelves while keeping an eye on your fellow students. It's the idea that I guess we're all in the library at a mystical college or university or something, and we're trying to get ahead of our other classmates in the exam. You can like knock over your opponent's books or like learn instant subjects, stuff like that. And it's your kind of after-hours extruding. You have to worry about security guards that will ask you to clean up and organize shelves if they catch you, since you're there after hours studying. So there's a little bit of everything. So every action you take will give actions to the students near you. If you create the most beautiful organized shelf with books and candles, you win the game. So it's the idea that it's like you're all there studying. And, it's less about, like, the fact that you're still studying for the exam. It's more about, like, all of you got caught, you staying late after hours. And, you have to kind of, like, help out at the library because you're after hours. And the best person to help out, gets that extra time, like maybe you'll get some extra time studying and stuff and win, do the best on the exam.
Right.
I like it's a weird concept for, like, you're organizing bookshelves.
Yeah.
It's magic bookshelf organizations. It looks as though... Oh, here we go. You get the library board, cloth bag, 5 student pawns, 1 per color.
30 magic wands.
6 per color. The main shelves, 5 main shelves, 10 side shelves, 160 book tokens, with 32 colors, 60 study cards, because I guess you still have that component of studying, 35 object, a bunch of tokens, the rule book, which I think you can open up PDF. It's for 2 to 5 players, 30 to 40 minutes. It's a 20-page rule book, so I'll give you that it's a lot.
I'm going to throw some spider tokens at you.
Spider tokens. I'm just going to try to get to the scoring objective. End of the game. After 10 turns have been played, the game ends with final scoring. During the final scoring, each player scores additional points for 4 categories. Favorite subject. Score 1 point for each book in their shelves that matches the subject icon on the upper right corner of your main shelf. filled compartments, candles, and magic wands, if you have unused magic wands. And I'm guessing the study cards can give you extra points too and things like that. It's like, I'm studying some extra. So there's a lot of interesting components to this entire thing. It's a lot of building. I'm guessing every player has their own main shelf and then has like 2 side shelves. So it has a kind of random, you're shelving components as they kind of build out.
Yeah.
No, it's... The artwork drew me in.
Yeah, the artwork looks really awesome.
Definitely you find it all interesting. You know, definitely it's an interesting board game. Even just on that end. Like, the art style, the idea of, like, organizing with, like, a magical flair. I like that. It's neat. Definitely, I think it would be a cool game to try out and play. Definitely. I don't think there's much else to say after that about it. Kind of like giving a good description of it there. Gives you an idea of what if you'd be interested or not, and if it's your kind of game. I definitely would say I would try it. Definitely on my list of games to try. So, Atheneum Mystic Library is going to be out soon from Renegade Game Studios. It's one to keep an eye out if it sounds like it's interesting to you. It is $45 for a lot of cardboard components. That definitely fits into the price range. So, but that leads us from our docket here to our regular segments, where we have a couple of regular segments we have each time we have one of these shows. That some of them we have and some of them we don't have, depending on what's going on. In this case, we don't have a deeper discussion, as we haven't had anything to review in a long time, and nor have we like dived deep into reviewing a game. We just haven't had it on our schedule for a while. One of these days we will get back to it. Kickstarter Korner. You got something? Oh, yeah, Plague. Plague is definitely a good reason for avoiding that.
Yes, I have something that looked interesting.
Cool.
They're doing rather well. It is called Veiled Fate.
Ooh.
A strategic deduction game for 2 to 8 players. So it's a social deduction game with a lot more strategy.
That's good. I like strategy in a social deduction
like
games.
You're a demigod trying to gain your godhood.
Okay.
And no one knows who each other are. You're actually going out on quests and trying to get my brain is dead.
You want to link the Kickstarter in chat?
I put it in the wrong thing. Sorry. Wrong chat. There we go. Now it's in the right chat. The top 2 players. Where is it? Skills. Use your cards and fate to influence the outcome of quests in the way that's supposed to be. You have god powers. Yeah, so it's like a social deduction game with actual more play than just your average one.
Cool.
So I think I thought it was really interesting with that. They're doing super well. Their original goal was 100,000, and they're at 430,000. They have 4,259 backers, and they still have 14 days to go. The base support to get the game is $65 pledge. You get the base game and game tray custom insert, and it would be estimated delivery next year in June.
Cool.
And it goes up to 85, which you get some Kickstarter exclusive stuff. And then it goes up to 145 to make everything metal. Tokens and all such. So if you want to go premium, you can go super premium. But they also sell if you just want a specific thing, like if you just want the metal miniatures, you can buy them for $40. And if you don't care about the city token, renown tracker, and the first player token being metal.
Cool.
So you can customize your game and get it, different things. They even offer premium wooden Veiled Fate board that you can get in white oak or walnut.
Neat.
Yeah. But it looks like a really interesting game. I would love to give it a try. I do not, unfortunately, at the moment have $65 to spend.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks super awesome.
Cool. I had to look at a couple of things, but I didn't find anything that particularly screamed at me that I wanted to talk about it. So I'll just leave yours for today.
Okay.
I almost had something, but I was like, I felt a little lazy today. Sometimes I do. How about we go to our week in tabletop then? So, we're grinding gears.
Yes, we are grinding gears. Where you snuck around and fucked up a ship a bunch.
And we're totally kind of captured at the end there and going to be talking to our arch nemesis finally. So we'll see how things go in this week's episode. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. So, that's going to be... We're getting close to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately. But...
I mean, it's like freaking in... As Josh has said, in 3 or 4 weeks, he's going to have a new baby.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I completely understand that.
And it's the unfortunate thing that, like, it's just...
Time got away.
Well, in the evolution of the game, too. Like, it's the unfortunate thing that, like, his character ends up being the most reliable because he is the one that specialized in technology. And without him, like, 95% of the stuff we kind of oftentimes need to do, we couldn't do. It's just an unfortunate thing that, like, ended up being the way that things developed in the game.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But we'll have some interesting times in the next couple weeks.
Yep. And then I didn't have records because, unfortunately, we were down 2 people. We did have legacies, which we managed to have. We were only down 1 for that one. They were going to go to the Caribbean because they're looking for Baron Samedi, leader of the Samedi bloodline. But they didn't know where to go to him, so they went to Louisiana first because they knew someone who had Creole/Caribbean blood in them. Questamala, someone they'd met earlier. So they're hoping to get her information, see if she knows anybody in the Caribbean that they can have contacts with there. Along the way, they did manage to find someone who's a member of the Samedi clan, who's an old Wild West shooter who happened to actually be the child of Baron Samedi, and was like, frick if I know where he's at. I don't see him ever. But he was also like, look, if you want to look into him, here's some places you can go look and some people you can talk to. Here's some information that could actually help you. Like, I don't ever contact him, because, again, like, kind of split apart kind of years ago after being created. But, here's some stuff to help. So, yeah. They might be ready to head finally to the Caribbean next time. They might have a few more adventures in Louisiana, though. So, it was interesting. And then, oh, God. Did we have... I had Monday, too. I forgot I had freaking... Second time I've had brain issues with Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I think I've talked about on this show. I think we talked about, like, how... The first thing that came up was that in combat, you can take penalties to your combat and fighting, and apparently there isn't a critical fumble unless you actually use the fumble rolls, and it's a 1. Because there's a way to, like, critically fail at something, not fumble at something, if you're 10 less than DC. But failure doesn't do anything. Fumbling does. The other thing is we ran into problems with freaking stealth and surprise rounds, because surprise rounds don't exist in 2nd Edition. I'm not going to go into details about it, but we ran into an issue that surprise rounds don't exist, and because they don't exist, most of the time, that's not a problem. Oh, I lost Joe. Hi?
That was weird.
Oh.
Sorry,
Okay.
You on my end you froze, but then I saw you were still talking on stream. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Something happened with my Discord and it just froze.
Discord issues, they happen.
Sorry.
But I was saying for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, we found a new problem, and that was stealth. Because apparently they don't have surprise rounds anymore. And most of the time, that's not an issue. Because the fact is, like, rather than a surprise round, it's a normal round in which some people aren't aware. So, if one side completely surprises the other, that's not a problem. The other side either will ready actions or take actions and let people become aware of them in the middle of the round. You know, they will have an advantage for an attack, but they also created hidden and non-hidden conditions, because conditions needed to be there. What happens is there's some times where parts of the teams are partially unaware, and that can create issues. We ran into it that, like, someone opened the door while trying to be stealthy, was not stealthy. The rest of us weren't being stealthy anyway. We haven't done Carrying Crown yet, Lightning. And they were unaware of the hiding people. So it's like in the middle, person that's unaware both sides. The hidden people are completely aware of us. The rest of the team was aware of the hidden people. You know? So it's like there's only this one person in the middle, and it created just a clusterfuck. It's circumstantial, but the problem is that when Pathfinder 2nd Edition removed the surprise round, it was so much easier with the surprise round in 1st Edition. We looked at 1st Edition, we're like, it's just are you acting in the surprise round or not? That was it.
Yeah.
You know, it was so simple. They made it unnecessarily complex. Again, like, most of the time, it isn't. But, like, there's a couple of times that it comes up and it's like, this is stupidly complex. If it's complex in one situation, the problem is technically complex. Even if most of the time, it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was 2nd Edition. So other than that, we were dungeon crawling. It was fine. Then I had Carrying Crown on Wednesday, and it was wonderful. We got a new player in. Celebi. She does some streaming. Introduced through Lee. She's a Valkyrie character. It was fun. They murdered Manticore by putting it to sleep above water, so it just drowned. It just drowned. They went for some trial stuff. It's a Trial of the Beast, the second Carrying Crown adventure. The team had some good times. Oh, and Umber's character went to a university and was shoving around a severed face to find out information about it.
Okay, then.
Umber's character got arrested. For obvious reasons. Do you know anything about this face? Oh god, is that a human face? Yes, it's a human face. Now tell me about it. It was great. I'm like, there's consequences to your actions. You get arrested.
Yeah, don't shove around severed body parts.
The person has, like, is, like, very low wisdom, charisma kind of character, high intelligence.
Still,
also,
don't shove around severed body parts.
It's preserved.
General
It was preserved.
Doesn't make it not severed.
Yeah, true. So yeah, so Carrying Crown was wonderful. And then we had Children of Wrath, in which it started out pretty like normal, like, oh, we're just doing some stuff in Wintress's village, and then horrible giant cat beasts attacked. You went and helped with that. And then it turns out the cat beasts were sent to attack you because someone was going to break into the village and steal something.
Another shadowy dude.
Yeah. Another enemy for you guys. Hey, Plot showed up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and Claude got to go into giant form and learn what he can do.
Yeah.
He can smash really, really well.
Oh man, I just drew out M&Ms, and I got 8 of them, and 6 of them were blue. It's like I almost drew out all, and it was just by random chance.
Also, he just knows so much about stealthing. He somehow hid behind a tree in giant form.
It was hilarious.
It's like, I'm a tree.
I mean, the big beasts could, like, have advantage to perception with scent. So as soon as they got close, they would have noticed you, but still.
But it's just like, I have no dex bonus anymore, but I'm a tree.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't that big, so it was sort of like, it theoretically would have been obvious, but it was also just like the idiocy of like, how did you do that? Somehow you hid there.
I ducked down.
Mm-hmm.
Held up another tree in front of my face while ducking behind a tree.
Yeah. It was very silly. It's like someone just shows up and like, that's just silly.
I'm just worried about now what's going to well, obviously also they're tracking my god, my brain just died. Goblin. Kaz. Yes, they're tracking Kaz for the amulet he's wearing. And I'm worried about what's going to happen when we go to Carrie's house.
Who knows? Plenty of fun stuff.
I mean, at least they also seemed like when Nim was coming close, they wanted to run away. So we got that until Nim goes away completely.
This is perfectly normal, non-problematic stuff. You don't have to worry about it. Don't worry. Horrible death will probably not come to you very rapidly.
I'll just sit on him.
There's nothing special about this. You're perfectly fine. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Be sappy.
Yep. So yeah. And I think that was our week in tabletop.
Yeah.
It was a decent week in tabletop. Not everything, but still pretty basic. Oh, Star Trek! I forgot about Star Trek. Both of us were in that too. Yeah.
Which is an offline game. Mm-hmm. Which we got to do ship combat.
It took us like an hour for one turn, but because it was getting a hold of ship combat.
Yeah, it's a bit complex in learning it, but like our second turn was a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
It's just trying to actually learn the rules and understand, oh, this is what you need to do, and you have to worry about power and...
Mm-hmm. What do all these things do?
And thankfully, we really made good checks with the Romulans beforehand, and we had a Romulan come in to help us. And now we're beaming down to a planet.
Yep. Mm-hmm. For a finale that we didn't really have time for, but it'll theoretically only be like an hour.
Yeah.
Judging us, it might be like 2 or 3.
Brick
Crushington is the greatest character that we randomly invented.
Played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I mean, to be accurate, it'd be played by our friend Trad, because he was the first one that created Brick Crushington. And I just mentioned it by chance, and we invented something in Star Trek, and I'm like, this is wonderful. Yeah. I just used the name Brick Crushington, and like, and you know as soon as you hear the name Brick Crushington what kind of character it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
There's like no... But then it's like, it's so involved in the Star Trek game in such an interesting way. I'm like, oh man, this is great. This is great. I've had very fun times.
Neural parasites.
Oh, flex these neural parasites into unexistence.
That we're going to try to make a deal with.
Flexed into unexistence. Brick.
I'm sorry, your flexing does not beat neural parasites, sir.
Apparently it does. They explode.
You're not a Klingon.
How do you know I'm not also a Klingon? Brick Crushington.
You don't have ridges.
Who needs ridges when you got muscles?
Anyway,
I guess we should go on to our final segment for the day, where it's Ask the Tabletop. if you folks out there have some kind of, consult the tabletop. If you have some kind of question related to any of the crap that we talked about, related to anything RPG, tabletop related, or even something nerdy, you just want to ask us for shits and giggles for fun, because we do have weird nerd tangents.
That's right. Talk nerdy to us.
XCOM, the RPG. Again, I said this. I would use Shadowrun. I would adapt the magic system into some kind of psionic system instead. I'd take a little bit of work to do that. It would be a little bit of extra, effort that you'd have to do to take about it to kind of figure out a way to do it perfectly. But other than that, the basic systems work pretty well. The hacking system, you might not have the matrix as deep as you would. I mean, if you want to make a psionic system out of the Shadowrun magic system, I'm not going to complain. I have other things that I was going to adapt onto a Shadowrun system. I haven't done them. That I was more interested in. So let me put it that way.
Adapt you into a Shadowrun system.
But yeah, if you do have some kind of questions or stuff, there's a lot of ways to reach us. At TeacherCoven for me, at EWSeeker81 for Joe on Twitter, where you can either add us, message us on Discord. You can find the link to my Discord channel down below, where you can throw it into the Discussing Tabletop section down below. You can also message us directly through Discord. I'm open to having direct messages. There's discussingtabletop@yahoo.com. There's in the description, or in the comments of this as a YouTube video now, if you're hanging out with us live on Twitch. If it's something we can answer right then and there, we will. If it's something that's better to reach here, we can too. I keep eating M&Ms now. That's true. My stomach's been
Stop eating M&Ms till the end of the show, at least.
I'm hungry, and my stomach's been weirdly, up and down for upsetness for the last couple of days. So, it settles down, and then I want food.
And then you eat chocolate. M&M's the RPG.
Maybe eating chocolate's not a good idea when my stomach settles down.
No.
All right. It's what's here in front of me, and I'm hungry. And there are wolves after me.
So your monitor's in front of you too, but you're not eating it.
Because it's not tasty and chocolate.
Your cat's behind you, but you're not eating it.
No, she left.
Oh, dang.
Also, she's less edible.
No, she's edible. She's just
I guess I can go
tasty.
eat real food then.
Go have some rice or something neutral for your stomach.
It's it's not then terrible. It's just that kind of you just your stomach just doesn't feel great. Yeah. So it's nothing. I've had no problems otherwise. It's just slightly upset stomach, which is that kind of annoying thing.
Sandwiches.
Those would be grilled cheese sandwiches, which would be a lot of cheese, and I don't think cheese would be great.
No, you must have 10 ham sandwiches.
I ain't eating those. I'll give them to my dad. He'll like them.
10 cheesesteaks.
I'll give them to my dad, my brother, and my mom. They'd all like them. Soup between bread. That is a bread bowl, which I've eaten a bread bowl. It is not great. It's okay.
Corn chowder sandwich.
I mean, if you drained off the liquid, you could probably create a corn chowder liquid sandwich by effectively taking the liquid and making some kind of thickened sauce with that. Taking the components that would be the vegetables and stuff and making some kind of ragu that you put on it. Maybe putting it on a cornbread.
Okay.
Look,
I think that's it.
Look, if you want to do a soup between bread, you can do it. You can just reinvent the components of it and create a kind of thing like that. All right. Lightning's right. We should end the stream because we've gone insane. All right, everybody out there.
Here.
Thank you for joining me and Joe for today. I hope you had a great time and learned a few things about some games that are coming up or are out now that you might be interested in. We should be hopefully back next week for more amazing adventures where we will talk about more crazy crap that'll be out there that you might be enjoy to learn about. If you're looking for more stuff, you can find us tomorrow, 7 p.m. EST for Grinding Gears. Other games that I have, Records of Evil, 10 a.m. EST on Tuesdays. That same day, 2 p.m. For Legacies of Kain. Thursdays, Children of Wrath. I definitely would recommend that one. That's 8 p.m. in the evenings. Gaming streams should hopefully be showing up here and there over the next week. I'm theoretically planning to do some Halloween-y stuff at some point. Phasmagoria, some Among Us. I want to get some GTFO in that I'll be throwing up on stream, and maybe a single-player spooky game. I haven't decided on that at very least. But you can see that there will be a good selection of stuff, opportunities to check out. So, yep. Hey, everybody out there, hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, rest of your day. Hope your weekend goes great. If you can't join us for anything else, hopefully at least join us for next week. And if not, see you tomorrow for gaming. We're getting towards that end of that grinding gear, so it's definitely good to see at least how everything ends. You know,
that gear is almost ground down.
Yep. So, but until then, very well, everybody. Goodbye.